What's going on YouTube? We back with another quick breakdown. And in this video, we got the legendary comedian Corey Holcomb and his 5150 crew. And in this particular clip, Corey is breaking down and really going in on Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A. Smith has had a history of covering certain stories about athletes a lot different. Say the Dana White story. He covered it with kid gloves. He started off copping pleas, saying how much Dana White is his friend and that he is so sorry about putting his hands on his wife. And this particular story, and we covered it before, Dana White got into an altercation with his wife that was on video. So it wasn't just an allegation or something that they heard about. This is something that we actually saw on video. Now, the story didn't really get that much coverage, but when Stephen A covered it, he covered it with kid gloves. Unlike other athletes, like when we look at the story with Von Miller, this is a story recently where Von Miller allegedly put his hands on his pregnant girlfriend and the story came to light. Now, there may have been a police investigation behind it, allegedly. And what happened was the girlfriend recanted the story. But when Stephen A. Smith covered the story, he didn't cover it with kid gloves. He went straight at Von Miller. Don't hit women. I didn't hear any of that stuff about he's my friend and he promised that he would never do that again. And this is just an isolated incident. He's never touched his wife before, like he covered the Dana White story. Now, in the Von Miller story, completely different. He had a complete different energy. And when he covers stories about certain athletes, he always has this certain aggression. Don't hit women. Stay off of the weed. You're ruining your career. Another instance where he handled it with kid gloves as well was the Jim Irsay situation when he was arrested. And I believe allegedly he may have been under the influence of alcohol or pills, and they found a bunch of pills. And Stephen A covered it a lot differently, saying if the man needs help, he should find help. If this is a situation, obviously he's struggling with something, the man should get help. Not the way that he covered the story about other athletes that went through this same situation, may have got caught with drugs, may have had DUIs or DWIs. He handled it completely different. And what we're saying here is that Stephen A. Smith needs to stop it. And that's Corey's whole entire point. Corey said that Stephen A. Smith is bad for the community because what he's doing, he's perpetuating negative stories about Black athletes, pretty much. In most instances, they don't even cover the story, just like the Josh Giddey story. It took them a while to even speak on it, but social media really blew the story up and was saying, huh, surprisingly enough, I wonder why ESPN and Stephen A. Smith and Malika Andrews have not mentioned the story yet. And their response finally was, we don't have enough information on the story. That's never stopped you before. Usually, when you're covering a story, you're extremely aggressive about it. Don't hit women like you did with the Von Miller story. So, our question is, and I want you guys to comment on this in the comments, why does Stephen A. Smith cover stories about Black athletes different than he covers stories about white athletes? Why is that? Isn't he supposed to be impartial? Isn't he supposed to just report the news, report the story? Why, when he's covering a story, say about a Von Miller, you hear a different aggression in his voice? Totally different. Don't hit women. This is completely unacceptable. Molly's rolling her eyes. She was the same way when she covered the story with Dana White. Very, very calm and had so much empathy in her voice. And we love the Dana White family, and we just really hope that we wish the family the best. But when they covered the Von Miller story, complete different energy. So let's listen to what Corey has to say about the situation, and we'll jump in on the other end.
Dana White hit his girl on camera in front of everybody. The whole world saw it.
Club or something, right? Was it?
Stephen A. Boy Smith went on TV talking about, oh, Dana is a friend of mine. And even though he made this one mistake, he made it like Dana was a good guy who made a mistake. I'm just trying to abbreviate what happened. So recently, he said Dana is his friend, in fact. Dana is his friend. He's a family man. Dana White got a beautiful family and all like that. Him and Molly was co-signing for Dana, who hit his girl in front of people on camera.
Public, yeah, you're right.
Well, this week, Von Miller, one of the players, Super Bowl winner. He was when he won the Super Bowl in Denver, he was one of the best players of the game. Von Miller had drama about some shit that was out. Apparently, him and his girl got into it, and Von Miller said, and it was a report out there that Von Miller hit his pregnant girlfriend. There's an arrest warrant for Von Miller for hitting his pregnant girlfriend. I've heard there's reports where the girls say, no, that ain't what happened. It got heated, but that ain't what happened. The girl wasn't beat up.
She did say that.
Because they just showed her beat up. It was just, they put that on ESP Racist N. ESP Racist N. They put that on there. Do you know what this name Stephen A. Smith said?
What?
Don't hit women.
I had somebody do that on my show one time.
Don't hit women. You just saw Dana White hit the woman and you took up for him. But when it's the brother, the girl said he didn't hit me. Your whole thing was, don't hit women. Don't put your hands on no woman. Now, I remember one day
Complete different
Smith
energy.
said something about women and the drama they bring on themselves, and they canceled his ass. And ever since then, he realizes how to be a good boy. A good boy. Where when Dana White hit his girl in front of everybody, it's, oh, this is my friend. He's not a bad guy. But Von Miller, it was a report out about him. And your whole thing was, don't put your hands on no woman. Man, you and Molly are a disgrace to the culture. People smile with you. Dana White ain't your friend. So if this is your friend, Stephen A., I look at the company you keep. I look at the people you claim as your friend, Stephen A. You a boy. You a boy. You bow. Von Miller, don't put your hands on women. Dana White, he's my friend. Because Dana White your friend. Dana White don't be motherfuckers who look like you. Get your cake ass out of here. You embarrassing yourself. You bad for the culture, dog. Real talk.
This question needs to be answered. I understand the circumstances that you're in, the dynamic. You work for ESPN, you work for Disney. So you have to do what they say. But why would you work for a company that continues to perpetuate negative stories against Black athletes, but ignores negative stories about white athletes? Or if they cover a story about a white athlete or a white entertainer or Dana White, a white businessman, they cover it very gently with kid gloves. And you don't have the same aggression and vitriol that you have when you cover a story about a Von Miller. When you cover stories about Black athletes, it seems as though you're following a script, because you've been consistently doing this over time, brother. And I completely don't understand it, even though I understand the dynamic of you having a job. I don't understand why you continue to repeat this behavior and not look at yourself as an embarrassment to the culture. Corey's right about that. There's already enough crime in the media, and we made a video about that previously, about how they cover stories differently when it comes to different cultures. And you are the one that's perpetuating that. That's why he's calling you a boy. And I have to agree with Corey. It is embarrassing. At this point, it's just been going on too long. And it's not something that before you really couldn't put your finger on it, even though we did see it. But when this happens over such a long period of time, it becomes obvious. And it seems as though that's why you're starting your show on YouTube, so that, and you speak differently, total different disposition, a little bit more street with the way that you cover the stories on your show on YouTube, because you probably are trying to get from up under that ESPN umbrella, because it's making you look bad. And you need to stop it. Don't constantly perpetuate negative images and negative stories about people that look like you. It's enough people doing that anyway. You don't have to be the one that's doing it. Thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And like we always say, let's change the narrative and refocus the optics.